All right, so Liberty High. Liberty High is opening this fall. It's this maroon part that's open. Everything else is not there. Okay? So if you remember West High, when West High opened in 1968, it also didn't have a football field or track, soccer field, auditorium, which is actually in this school, thankfully. And I would assume they probably didn't have some of the other fields there as well. And West High played all of their home games at City High. Even when they played against City High, there was always weird to sit 2 times, your 2 out of your 4 years on the visitor side for West High games as a City High grad. Yeah. But in that 1996, roughly, a few years after I was out, they finally got their football field and track at West High after being open since '68. In 2012, they got their soccer field, and somewhere in between there, they got their auditorium as well. So 2012, we were able to finish a school with all the facilities it needs to be a comprehensive high school that opened in 1968. So to not make that mistake again, this building will open regardless. Phase 2 of Liberty is all the outdoor athletic facilities. And phase 3 is this 500 student addition, which they're eventually going to need to go from a 1,000 student school to a 1,500 student school. So again, that's all bond dependent. And this is just a rendering of what it could look like, hopefully. Historic renovations. So Longfellow and Mann are both 100 years old this year.
Yep.
And
Longfellow's next year. When
2000,
they come back.
yeah, 17, but they won't be there, so.
No, they won't.
And Lincoln is 92 years old, if my math is correct. So we've got some old buildings. In fact, 19 of our 26 buildings are 40 years or older in this district. Lincoln is gonna look like this when it's done, this rendering. What they're doing as soon as school is out, they are completely gutting that building. Everything is, or sorry, not Lincoln, Longfellow, sorry. Yes, Lincoln is getting huge. Yeah, taking it over.
I would say that's
Taking
what Mr.
over.
Sark's been showing us.
Yes. Longfellow will be completely gutted. They'll move everything out. They have to go through, they'll redo all the wiring, the piping. They're going to put an elevator in here, which the school has never had in a 3-floor school. Air conditioning, again, which they've never had. They're going to redo the media center, which used to be a walk-through aisle on the 2nd floor, and add a multi-purpose room. And they're going to make it look like it was built still in 1917. Since we like to do funny side stories, 100 years ago, this community was asked to pass the, at that time, largest school bond to build 3 elementary schools. It was Longfellow, Horace Mann, and Sabin. So this community 100 years ago passed a bond in 1917 to get those schools built. 2 of which we still have, and the 3rd one is now part of Midwest One's parking garage. So Longfellow's getting done, Mann will get done should the bond pass. The same type of thing, and we're discussing the layout of that school now with the Mann community. All right, multi-purpose rooms. So you know this picture, obviously. This picture over here is what you probably were used to, or this is what Lemmy was, or Lemmy is. This was the picture that I took at the holiday sing-along before the end of the winter session, and I was one of the first people in, so I got to be one of the 50 people around the wall. If you're not one of the 50 adults in the wall, you go out the door and you get back in your car because you're not going to be able to watch that thing. And then again, I won't have to repeat it to you guys, but some people don't understand they have both of these spaces, and some schools had one, like you guys know, lunchroom and gym at the same thing doesn't work well. Safety and security upgrades, again, that's your door on the left, and this is Lucas. Lucas was moved, they flip-flopped their art and office space. The art used to be in the front, office was in the back. Not all schools have safety and security upgrades like this. They all have, almost all of them now have the electronic locks to get in. But for the longest time, schools such as Shimmick, for example, you could walk in and the first classroom you went to was kindergarten. And then you got to the office. So at Lemmy, when you walked in, there used to be a brick wall on this side. You walk in, you went to the right, no one would ever see you. You got access to all the classrooms except for kindergarten. Now you have to walk in, buzz in, go in through the office. So think about the world we live in now, that's probably important. So the timeline, again, the sheet you have lays out everything that's on there. The gray stuff, which Twain was in, was already completed. The red stuff is stuff we're doing now or will be completed within the next school year. And then the blue section is all the projects that we have left. There's 20 projects on there that touch 18 schools. So you're wondering how much is this going to cost, right? So if you remember, what's left in blue is going to cost us $192 million to complete. So, fun fact. There's 20 projects left, which is the second half of the facility master plan, $192 million. This beautiful building that we just built in Iowa City cost $176 million to build. Great building, vital to the Iowa City community area, also to the university. Was rebuilt with some flood funds, but just to compare, one building, 20.
The university
20
always
projects.
gets what they want.
Yep, they got a really high-end, non-floating cruise ship. 'Cause that's what it is.
All right, so the Iowa City Community School District is the 5th largest district in the state. And of the top 10 districts in the state, we have the 10th lowest tax rate. With the passage of the bond, we'll still be 10th. So just looking at that, you're probably thinking, oh, Ankeny, Des Moines, they're way far away. It's hard to compare, right? So just same type of comparison, pulling up the districts around us. We're still down here. All right. Just to the west of us, Clear Creek Amanda's district, it's $16.75 is their tax rate. You probably read in the paper at the same time they were talking about our bond, they were talking about Clear Creek Amanda going for another bond. The reason that their taxes aren't going up is because they're maxed out. They can only ask for that amount. So, of course their taxes aren't going up because they can only ask for that amount. If we are not maxed out. If we wanted to max out our tax rate as well, we could do $600 million worth of projects. But we're not asking for that.
What's the max?
What's that?
What would be maxed out?
I'd have to figure it out. It's a percentage.
Oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
not like 20,
No,
it doesn't cap out at 20.
it would probably be closer to this up here. All right, so the full levy rate required on this would be $1.96 per $1,000. We have retiring debt coming off in 2017, so we're already knocking 53 cents off of that, which would bring it down to $1.43. And then the board has discretionary levy reduction to reduce that impact as well. We're gonna knock another 45 cents off. So that brings us up to 98 cents proposed levy rate increase. So you're $13.99, now you're up at $14.97, and whatever quick math is there, and you're still below number 10 by a penny. So the homeowner impact, so you have to remember this is on assessed home value, not what your home is actually valued at. It's what you get taxed on, your property taxes. Comes down to $4.25 a month, or $51 per $100,000 in assessed home value. And I know Kelly will get to it when I'm done because I've already forgot what she told me. But she's got a really good comparison on what that breakdown means in real life dollars. And just, I'll go over this one real quick, but just remember if your home, you have to take your home value and then take off all the rollbacks and property taxes, and that's how you get your assessed value. So you usually get that sent to you in the mail. So your home value is not what your assessed value is. That assessed value is usually lower. And then just to run it down real quick, we did it by $25,000 increments from $50,000 home value to $300,000 home value. Your projected annual tax increase, and then what the monthly tax increase would be over here. This stuff's all on the website, so if you don't get it, write it down or see it, I'll show you where that's at. Which is where we're at right now. So if you go to iowacitysschools.org, you can either type in 2017 bond, or you can just click on the little button at the top right that says GeoBond. It's great. If you know they work on this thing now. The whole thing, you don't just have to look at the left side of stuff. So the new website is great and very user-friendly. And then just remember, vote 2017, September 12th. There'll also be a school board election that same day for 3 new school board members and the GeoBond. With that, I will entertain any questions. that you may have. I should go back, since we talked about how Twain has already received things and I touched on City High, I didn't talk about Southeast. Southeast is a very important piece of this that needs to get done. They are not air conditioned 100%. No.
I have
And-
a seventh grader, and I know
Yes,
some of these
and
parents.
we were at
do.
back to school night together.
Yes.
Which was in August, at night,
And it was.
when it was dark, and it was hot. Like, we went to the classroom like, all right, good, teacher, yep, all right, we're out. That's how much time you want to spend there. It was super hot in there. The space is small, the classrooms are small, the lunchroom is small, the kitchen is really small. When I went to, did anybody else go to Share Your School Day?
No, I opted out of that because I knew it was gonna be hot and yucky.
Yeah, it was actually pretty decent.
Was it?
Yeah. So I went to Share Your School Day, which is when you have a seventh grader or eighth grader, it's pretty cool if your kids will let you go. You get to go, you get to go and go to all the classes or however many you want to go to with them, and you get to experience the kind of the class within the school setting. My daughter did not want me to go, so I went to the office and asked for my own schedule, so I didn't have to match up with hers because I wanted to walk the classrooms anyway. So I went to 4 or 5 different other classrooms, including the one you saw in that picture. But she said I could eat lunch with her, which was interesting. I went to lunch. She had like the second or third lunch shift. I think the first lunch shift starts at like, I don't know, on Thursdays it's like 10:30. I feel
I think
like.
it's like, yeah, it's pretty early.
Yeah. So it's like breakfast lunch. They get brunch. But you sit at the tables and there's, if you know that room that they divide it into, and they have someone come around and release people to go through the line. Well, if you get in the line to get the school lunch, the last table got released with 11 minutes until lunch was done, and then they had to go get in line. When they got back to the table, they had, I don't know, 6 minutes to eat. So if your kid is in that situation, not good. The new plan will add some classrooms, air conditioning, redo the kitchen there, increase they'll put athletic track practice area, which is a little bit nicer than just running on the grass out there at Northwest, North Central, and Southeast, so they'll all get that. Is there one other thing that I'm missing? Yeah, new kitchen, track. Yeah, and replacement of the lockers and roof as well. So, any questions? The questions means you're all gonna vote yes and get the people out to vote yes as well. That's great. Yeah.
I have a couple of things I wanted to ask about, not so much, I mean, some of this I kind of know the answer to, but it's stuff that I'd like to cover because I'm probably gonna be talking to people about the bond. So I'd like to know. So could you go over the way funds, kind of just a tiny primer on the way funds are segregated in the district? Because there are people that might think that we're making a choice between buildings and teachers here and things like that. Now, I don't think that's true, but I'd like to hear
Yep.
you explain.
So our general fund, which is where our operating expenses come from, that pays for teachers and books and all things that make the school day happen. That fund is separate, so you have that fund, the general fund. Then you have your state tax dollars, your bonding dollars, your PEPAL fund. Those pay for buildings, equipment, upgrades, computers, things of that nature. So it's not day-to-day necessarily operations, and it's totally separate pots. So you can't dip and go in from one and take from the other. If you know anything about our general fund, it's a little over 80% pays for teachers alone. So the rest of that pot is fairly small, and when the government doesn't give us more money to put in that fund, it makes it pretty tough strain. So this is, again, totally separate funds. So the only way that we're able to support this is bonding, like we're asking you guys to do. The Save Penny Sales Tax, which is expiring, and the legislation has not extended that, and we probably won't see that happen for the next couple of years, is what we're hearing. So we can't rely on those dollars as well.